Subscribe. MTL World at Mittel World 1 YouTube channel. Swallowed Star 2. Origin Continent. Chapter 269 Emperor Yan, Emperor Shi, and Emperor Wu. 48th of Volume 6. Under the supply of royal resources, Emperor Chu had only managed to cultivate a few ultimate-level secret techniques and used some resources to form an ultimate-level life form. However, comprehending the complete Tao was still a distant dream. As for venturing out of the origin world in the future, with his current strength, he would be at the bottom tier in places where countless powerful beings from a billion worlds gathered. The most crucial point is, he still doesn't have the technique for creating clones. My disciple, is he above the God King? How long has he been cultivating? Di Chu couldn't believe it. A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity has just fallen into my lap. Master, I am currently accompanying the ancestors of the two nations. Once everything is settled here, I will visit you and report everything in detail. Luo Feng communicated. Don't rush, Master isn't in a hurry. Di Chu grinned. Among the emperors and monarchs of the origin continent, besides Emperor Qing, the one with the strongest individual power is Emperor Ming. He is a lone wolf and has a very average relationship with the other emperors. However, he views Luo Feng differently and has great admiration for these strong individuals who have risen from the bottom. During their interactions, Emperor Ming also gifted a Beast of Calamity painting, which was a true inheritance of his will secret technique. It also brought some benefits to Luo Feng's early will cultivation. The path of spiritual will of the Emperor Ming is different from Luo Feng's. Before both of them comprehended the Great Tao, their spiritual will had already surpassed the God King level, even touching the upper limit of the will power of the origin continent. Is Luo he the ruler of the Galaxy Kingdom? At this moment, Emperor Ming was also somewhat surprised. What an extraordinary genius. Although he was a bit surprised, he quickly got used to it. Having grown up from the bottom of a small universe, Di Ming has seen too many powerful geniuses who are better than him. Di Ming is not in a hurry at all because he knows. The path of cultivation is not about a moment, but about the endless, long years. As long as he keeps groping forward in the darkness, he will eventually go further and further. Luo Feng, the ancestors of the two nations, Emperor Qing, and the ancestor of the Eastern Ji domain, the five of them gathered together. In such a short time to achieve such accomplishments, that's truly remarkable. The Yangfeng ancestor looked at Luo Feng. I can imagine that once you reach the outside of the origin world and compete with the powerful beings from countless worlds, you will also stand among the most dazzling ranks. Luo Feng smiled and said, can they break free from the cage? The Yangfeng ancestor and the Thunder ancestor both paused in surprise. Jump out of the cage. For a moment, everyone fell silent. This is what every practitioner groping in the dark yearns for, but it is also the most difficult. Just like a fish leaping over the dragon gate to become a dragon, just like a mortal ascending to become an immortal, breaking out of the cage, it is a complete transformation. Difficult, too difficult. The ancestor of the Eastern Ji domain spoke up. Even if one were to break free from the cage and become a higher level Xuanhuan life, that would still be a legend. So, even if you have a bit more talent, what's the big deal? Luo Feng said with a smile. There's nothing to brag about. Those with extremely high talent can easily reach at least the semi-Xuanhuan level, said the Yangfeng ancestor. For example, I have been cultivating for several eras, and I have only reached the late stage of the God Emperor level. I have abandoned the path of the enlightened ones and chosen the Xuanhuan bloodline, said the Thunder ancestor. At least for you, Luo He, walking the path of the enlightened ones to reach the semi-Xuanhuan level should be relatively smooth. The path of cultivation must be taken step by step. Luo Feng also has a clear self-awareness. The powerful secret treasure he exchanged for, the Eye of Life and Death, had been exchanged by individuals of exceptionally high talent throughout history. Among the first 12 exchangers, only one managed to break free from the cage and become a high-level Xuanhuan life form, and he died in battle. This Luo He, with such dazzling talent and yet so humble, showing no arrogance at all. The Yangfeng ancestor sighed inwardly. Such practitioners are the most terrifying, always progressing step by step. Luo He. The Yangfeng ancestor had naturally already reviewed all the detailed information about Luo Feng. He said, as far as I know, among the royal family of my Yan Feng ancient kingdom, Emperor Yan, Emperor Shi, and Emperor Wu, the three of them have some conflicts with you. Luo Feng frowned slightly and said, among the three of them, Di Wu and I indeed have a grudge. She once tried to threaten me by exterminating all the disciples of my Daohe sect. Fortunately, my master Di Chu helped to stop her at that time. Di Wu's temperament is indeed cruel and ruthless. The ancestor of Yan Feng nodded. Even when dealing with her own kin, she is vicious. She even ambushed your master, Di Chu, causing him to fall into the blood river. Just when Di Chu was on the verge of being contaminated to the point of death in the Blood River, he fortunately obtained a natural secret treasure, which allowed him to escape the Blood River and survive. Brother Luo He, how do you think we should deal with the three of them? Said the Yangfeng ancestor. Since there are enemies, let's kill them all. The Thunder ancestor said from the side. Luo Feng said, Diwu deserves to die, as for the other two. Luo Feng, the Yangfeng ancestor, the Thunder ancestor, the Eastern Ji domain ancestor, and Di Qing were all surprised as they looked towards a certain place on the origin continent, where the teleportation passage of the origin continent was located. Diwu is arrogant and self-righteous. She has always been ruthless, having acted against her own kin multiple times, and even the ancestors didn't pay much attention. She thought that the minor conflict with Luo He was nothing to worry about. Diwu doesn't understand, in the eyes of the ancestors of both nations, we are all just ants. Di Shi is too afraid of the outside world beyond the origin world. With this kind of temperament, even if you go out and explore in the future, you won't get far. Forget it. After making his decision, Emperor Yan didn't hesitate any further. A beam of rainbow light, in the blink of an eye, crossed over half of the origin continent and reached the location of the teleportation portal. The teleportation portal to the origin continent is located deep within the Tianji icefield. Here, everything is forged from ice, and within a valley made of ice, there are formations providing protection, making it incredibly stable. In the icebound valley, there is a dark, deep pool. By the dark, deep pool, a figure sat cross-legged. It was a doppelganger of Emperor Fu. He had been patiently waiting for Luo He to set out. Di Fu looked over in surprise. Suddenly, a flash of rainbow light appeared in the sky, and a figure arrived in the ice valley. It was Emperor Yan. Di Yan. Di Fu asked in confusion, you came here. Di Yan glanced at him, didn't say a word, and then directly leapt into the dark, deep pool with a swoosh. He left. Di Fu thought to himself. This Di Yan is quite decisive. He must have realized Luo He's identity. He didn't even bring his two companions and slipped away alone. The dark abyss shimmered with light, and Di Yan had already been transported out of the origin continent, to the world beyond the origin world. This aligns with Di Yan's way of doing things. Be ruthless to the enemy, and also be ruthless to yourself. Note: Luo Feng and the other four usually don't pay attention to the positions of the countless beings on the origin continent, but when a being crawled into the teleportation portal, it still caught their attention. Di Yan entered the teleportation portal. Luo Feng saw the dark pool in the ice valley glowing, and knew that Di Yan had slipped away. That guy really knows how to run. The Thunder ancestor chuckled from the side. Brother Yan Feng, this Emperor Yan is quite perceptive, sensing a hint of danger and leaving without hesitation. Luo Feng said, Diwu deserves to die. As for Di Yan and Di Shi, they only have some minor conflicts with me, so let's expel them from the origin continent early. Although the two of them have a blood feud with Emperor Guishu, there are countless grievances and grudges on the origin continent, and Luo Feng is unwilling to get involved. The great sinner, he cannot tolerate. As for the other grievances and grudges, let the protagonists of those grievances fight it out themselves. Brother Luo He. The Yangfeng ancestor said with a smile, you are still too merciful. Since they have offended you, they deserve to die. As soon as he finished speaking. Then an invisible wind began to blow, and this wind entered the bodies of Diwu and Di Shi. Although Diwu had many clones, at this moment, all of them were affected by this invisible wind. The wind swept through her physical body and her soul, causing Diwu to naturally turn into nothingness and dissipate between heaven and earth. No, when the invisible wind blows, Diwu realizes at this moment who is behind it. At this moment, she understood. In the past, the ancestor allowed her to act recklessly, completely indifferent to the various conflicts on the origin continent. For the ancestor, over several eras, countless clan merchants were nurtured. As for these clans, what feelings could the ancestor possibly have? The ancestor valued the entire clan as a whole. As for individuals, they could be extinguished at a word. Just because of the Luo He. Diwu understood where the cause of death lay. If you don't agree, I'll wipe out all the disciples of the Daohe sect. Once, she thought this was just a small matter because she had done so many similar things, far worse than this. After all, she had truly annihilated entire families and cities of beings under various god kings. As for Luo He, it was merely a threat, not something she had actually done. I should have left. At this moment, Diwu regretted not leaving with Di Yan, but it was already too late. Her consciousness was completely engulfed in darkness. She is dead. Aside from Emperor Yuan, the Baimo monarch, and Lan Duo monarch, another emperor has died. Why? When Di Shi was swept by the invisible wind, she felt an overwhelming anger. Although she had acted alongside Di Yan and Diwu many times and had many enemies, she and Luo He didn't have much enmity. Why did Luo He still not let her go? Why did he even let the ancestor kill her? This Luo He is too ruthless. The ancestor is also on his side. Di Shi, in anger and unwillingness, fell into darkness. Another emperor has died. Bai Mo, Lan Duo, Di Yuan, Di Wu, Di Shi, a total of 5 emperors have died one after another on the origin continent. This has left the other forces on the origin continent terrified, making them even more reluctant to provoke the rules set by the Lord of the Galaxy. The founders of both nations are standing with the ruler of the Galaxy Kingdom, who can resist? Just crush them casually. The Yangfeng ancestor said with a smile. Luo Feng had also witnessed it. The ancient beings like the founders of the two nations had lived for too long and had experienced countless battles outside the origin world. For them, killing a couple of little guys was simply not worth mentioning. Life rises and falls. Compared to the countless beings of the origin continent, they have lived a long time, lived well, and lived freely, said the Yangfeng ancestor. Now, fate has lent me a hand, allowing them to return to the essence of the origin continent. Brother Luo He. Di Qing said from the side. The clone you used this time seems extraordinary, but has your secret technique made any progress? Luo Feng nodded. My secret technique is finally perfected. Ready to head to the outer world. Di Qing's eyes lit up. He had been waiting for this ally for a long time. Luo Feng nodded. Settle the matters of the origin continent, and we should be able to depart within a few epochs. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe. MTL World at Middle World 1 YouTube channel.